Here's the thing about the internet. A lot of people tend to be followers. Let's say a huge creator from social media like TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, etc. says they dislike something from a show. A bunch of people are going to agree and not form their own thoughts about what's being talked about. Basically what I'm trying to say is, you should not feel obligated to hate on something that's popular, just because you see other people criticize it. And I'm not gonna lie, you usually see that with Demon Slayer. It does get a lot of love, but it also gets a lot of hate. Now, I'm not gonna act like Demon Slayer is the most perfect show in the world, because it definitely has its flaws, and there's certain things I really don't like from it. But even if that's the case, to say the show is mid, bad, or just garbage, you're just completely wrong. And I stand by that. And yeah, the plot's pretty straightforward. It really isn't that complex, but who the fuck cares? If a show got some characters I love, shit, I'ma watch that. I'd rather watch a show for enjoyment than watch a show that's boring as shit and tries too hard to be different. Like, holy shit, people be watching these shows for the wrong reasons, bro. Just enjoy it, please. Demon Slayer as a whole is a definition of a show that doesn't need to do too much for it to do so well. You'll hear people say it gets carried by animation because they dislike the manga art. It doesn't live up to their standard. Shit, if I could follow what's going on in the manga, I don't think it's a problem. And I will say the anime adaptation did give the manga a lot of attention, but that's not because of the animation only. We love the characters. Similar to what I said about Deku in my last video, people really hate Tanjiro because he's a goody two-shoes. And they feel like too much of the time, he's way too kind. And I'm not saying his character is deep or complex, but it's very underappreciated by a lot of people, because it's not like it's impossible to make him angry. Like his first encounter with Daki, whenever she killed all those innocent people, Tanjiro was pissed. Dude's eyes started bleeding like crazy. And then we get to a point where Tanjiro wonders why she's doing all this. And you know, Daki's obviously gonna give him an answer that he does not like. So Tanjiro's like, I see, that's enough. Then he just goes all out. At this point, bro is angry. He ain't really thinking about anything right now. And then you know that whole time he wasn't breathing. Then he runs out of breath. Now it's looking like he's cooked until Nezuko comes by and saves him before it's too late. And now let's skip to the part where Gyutaro is trying to make Tanjiro his bitch. And obviously, Tanjiro already had a plan figured out. And now he's trying to slice off Gyutaro's head. And at that point, he doesn't feel remorse for Gyutaro yet. Until Daki says something. And now Tanjiro's having this random thought about, oh, this could have been me. But he still needs to do what he needs to do. And finally, near the end, where Tanjiro, Uzui, Inosuke, and Zenitsu finally complete their goal of defeating Gyutaro and Daki by slicing both their heads off at the same time, Tanjiro sees them arguing and then makes them stop. Then he makes them realize that they both still need each other, which is something we see when Gyutaro carries Daki, aka Ume, in the afterlife. And the thing about Tanjiro is that he doesn't blindly just say, oh, I feel bad for you. He always has a reason. And I'm saying this because there's also demons out there that he doesn't really show empathy to. A few examples are Enmu and Tengu. In Mugen Train, Enmu has a power that basically just manipulates your mind into having good dreams or bad dreams. And then one time in that movie, Tanjiro had a dream where his entire family was against him and they're all blaming him for the reason why they died. And Tanjiro knew that wasn't the case and he didn't take that shit lightly. So when he was fighting Enmu, he gave no fucks about that guy. But a better example is in Tengu, because he's always been an evil guy and Tanjiro knew this. And near the end where Tanjiro thought Nezuko was dead, he ain't thinking about remorse for that nigga no more. He sliced that boy up and made sure that he was dead for good. So Tanjiro's character is actually really good because he's only kind up to an extent. And if he knows you've done some very evil things, he's not gonna care for you. He's gonna make sure you're just dead for good. And one detail that I noticed is that if his family's brought into the equation, that's when he shows no remorse for you. And that shit is realistic, because that's how most humans operate. And we all know that boy doesn't mess with Muzan at all, which we've seen multiple times in the show and in the manga. And usually, most of the side characters in Demon Slayer are well liked. Well, some of them. Zenitsu, people usually hate him because he's scared to fight demons, screams too much, and just lacks charisma. And often, I can see why people think that's a little bit repetitive in the character. But when he falls asleep, he becomes this serious ass swordsman. He's gonna lock in. But now in this upcoming arc, we're gonna see bro cook. And not just him, but everybody. Which is why I believe that the Infinity Castle arc is the best one out of Demon Slayer. First off, we get to see everybody in the show. And finally, we see everybody go out in high-stake battles. Because usually Demon Slayer follows the same formula every time. Tanjiro's group is given a mission, they encounter demons, and then after beating those demons, Tanjiro shows his sympathy sometimes and reflects on their humanity, and they often rest up and train their bodies before doing the same thing over and over again. Which isn't bad at all, because like I said before, they executed that formula in a good way, and I have no complaints about it. But the Infinity Castle art goes away from that formula, and then we get to see something totally different. And we finally go away from the usual focus on Tanjiro and get to see the Hashira fight their battles. And not just the Hashira, but other characters as well that we never get to see. And each fight that happens is literally not boring at all. Everything's exciting, and usually shit always goes down. Like Zenitsu speed blitzing this fodder character right here. He don't even deserve to get his name called. Then we got Tanjiro and Giyu versus Akaza, and we get to see these two actually be a duo. But my favorite battle gotta be these three against Doma. If you didn't read the manga, you would have thought Shinobu died for nothing. Cause at this point, we don't know her plan of how she's gonna kill Doma. We just saw her bones get crushed and then she got absorbed. But then when we get to Kanao and Inosuke fighting Doma, it turns out that Shinobu modified her body with poison, and then she sacrificed herself so they can win. So she was just trying to poison Doma. That way Inosuke and Kanao could figure out a way to cut off Doma's head. That's a real ass way to go out. Honestly, if it weren't for Shinobu sacrificing herself, everyone inside that castle would have got packed up earlier than before. Shinobu is the MVP of this entire arc. She's my real MVP. Also Tamayo, but we'll talk about her later. Then we got Kokoshibo, and obviously that boy cold. So one person wasn't gonna be enough for him, even if they're a Hashira. So Maruchiro was definitely gonna lose. Then you got Genya pulling up, and obviously he isn't strong enough to do anything. So Sanemi pulls up, and then Guillaume pulls up. Now all four of them have to figure out how to beat this guy, cause this man right here, besides Muzan, is one of the strongest demons to ever exist. And now it's Sanemi and Guillaume fighting Kokoshibo, while these other two just stay at the sidelines and figure out a way to help out. And obviously it's gonna get to a point where Kokoshibo is getting overwhelmed, so he decides to transform. And then he starts to realize how ugly he was right after he saw his reflection on Sanemi's sword, which made him kind of give up a little because he felt like everything that he's done is for nothing. Dude was just jealous of his own brother, and sadly he took it too far. So now Kokoshibo's finished. He's gone for good, but so are these two. So at this point of the story, 3 major characters have already died. So at this point you're like, what the fuck? They got packed up too? Nah, that's crazy. And then after a while we see Muzan again. And obviously he's on demon time, literally. And if it weren't for Tamayo, Muzan would have finished this shit up quickly, because she made a type of poison that can turn demons into humans. It also stopped cell regeneration, and it also made you age faster. So Muzan was heavily nerfed, and he was still able to kill a lot of people. And after a while, Muzan kills Nakama, and now the entire Infinity Castle is crumbling down. Now we're in the final arc, and now everybody's making sure that Muzan dies here, and quickly before it's too late. And I'll say this arc right here made me feel sad as hell, because now this is where everybody starts dying. Everybody's trying to kill Muzan. Some people are severely injured from his tentacles or whatever, but you know in the end they're gonna figure out a way to beat him. We got Guillaume dying, then we got Omina and Mitsuri dying. Then Tanjiro was dead, only for a little bit, and now he became a demon because of Muzan, and now Muzan wants to make Tanjiro his vessel. But obviously Muzan is gonna fail, and you're gonna see this nigga saying, no, please, no, don't leave me here. Because Muzan's a big ass man child, and even though he can have some cool ass moments, he might be the worst villain I ever seen. And then now Tanjiro's back to his human self, and now we're given the end of Demonslayer, where everybody is still grieving for the ones that lost their lives, but now everybody's finally able to live a life without demons. And that's a good way to end the show. You basically have this big ass war or whatever, and even though the good guys won, they still lost some people in the process. And even though the creator had to rush some stuff, they were still able to give us a story that was entertaining all the way till the end. And I can already tell, once they release each movie one by one, that shit's gonna be the most talked about thing in anime for a very long time, because we all know Ufotable is top 1 when it comes to animation. So I know they're gonna give us some heat. And yeah, that wraps up everything. I appreciate you all for watching up to this point, and also thank you for getting me up to like 200 subs, because I did not expect that Deku video to do so well. But what can I say, when my goat's getting trashed, I have to help him out. But all jokes aside, thank you for the support, and the grind never stops. I'll see y'all in the next one.